7 days ago, I received a word from a woman with a prophetic ministry. The word ended with these lines: I see your heart, your dreams. It is I that placed them there. And I say to you, you do not need to hold them there in the quiet place any longer. It's time to speak them out. It's time to believe that they're not just a dream, that they are my dream and will therefore become a reality. So that's, friends, what I want to do right here and right now, live in this conference, and speak out. Some of my deepest dreams are around the leadership gifts that God in heaven has put within his women, his daughters, that those gifts might become fully deployed and fully alive, gifts that are currently being underinvested in, gifts that are not fully utilized for his glory. And my dream is this, that over these coming years, we will see a shift, that we will see women who are anointed yet humble, fearless yet honoring, connected yet self-contained, present yet far-reaching, compassionate yet fierce, pure but not naive, strong yet gentle, simple yet strategic. God, the giver, has given gifts to his women for a reason, for a purpose, for such a time as this. And as I was praying about this talk, I was drawn to the parable of the talents. Let me read it to you. In Matthew 25, the Message translation says this, in verses 14 to 18. It's also like a man going off on an extended trip. He called his servants together and delegated responsibilities. To one, he gave 5,000 coins, to another 2,000, to another 1,000, depending on their abilities. Then he left. Right off, the first servant went to work and doubled his master's investment. The second did the same. But the one with the single £1,000 dug a hole and carefully buried his master's money. After a long absence, the master of these 3 servants came back and settled up with them. The one given 5,000 coins showed him how he had doubled his investment. His master commended him. Good work. You did your job well. From now on, be my partner. The servant with the 2,000 coins showed how he also had doubled his master's investment. His master commended him. Good work. You did your job well. From now on, be my partner. The servant given 1,000 coins said, Master, I know you have high standards and hate careless ways, and that you demand the best and make no allowances for error. And I was afraid. I thought I might disappoint you, so I found a good hiding place and secured your money. And here it is, safe and sound, down to the last penny. The master was furious. That's a terrible way to live, he said. It's criminal to live cautiously like that. If you knew I was after the best, why did you do less than the least? Friends, invested in gifts pain me because I believe it pains the heart of God. There are more daughters than sons who hide their God-given gifts and talents, who bury them, who don't unwrap a gift from him and then don't use it or maximize it for its greatest return for the kingdom of God. God is after the best, and sometimes we do less than the least with what he's given to us. And sometimes that's because of the context that we're in, maybe the life stage we're in. He understands that. Sometimes it's the church culture we're in. There's all kinds of baggage around women and their gifts. Oftentimes it's to do with the internal battles we face. However, I believe the price of inaction, of hiding our gifts, of burying them, of not growing our potential is steeper than the risk of action. When we hide, there is a cost for who we are becoming. There is a cost for the churches we are bringing leadership into, and there is a cost for an increasingly broken and hurting world that needs leaders leading at their best. And now is a time, at this critical point in history, when church is being rebuilt, when our communities are being rebuilt after a global pandemic, where inaction, where underinvestment, where being hidden has to stop. Now is the time to choose growth, to own the gifts that God, the giver, has given to us, to say thank you to him, and to grow in them. Many of you have heard of the glass ceiling. Not many of you will have heard of the glass cliff. The glass cliff is the phenomenon of women being more likely to be given leadership roles in a time of crisis or downturn. Harvard Business Review released a piece of research just 2 weeks ago. Its opening paragraph says this: the glass cliff describes the idea that when a company is in trouble, a female leader is put in charge. When women are given a chance to prove themselves in a senior position, they are often handed something that is broken. And we have seen this happen frequently enough that it made us wonder, are perhaps women more qualified, more suited to lead during a crisis? Could that be why they are handed the reins when times are tough? You know, during this global pandemic crisis, we've anecdotally heard about women leaders rising up and leading better than they were leading before, and now research backs that up. This piece of research broke down an analysis of assessments of leaders and those who worked with them over the last 10 months, and it showed consistently that women were leading well through this crisis. Competencies around interpersonal skills were being highly rated and appreciated by those they led. Things like, she inspires and motivates. She communicates powerfully. She loves collaboration and teamwork. And she's good at relationship building. Now, all of that's in the corporate world, but I am utterly convinced that the glass cliff phenomenon is something we will see in the church world. There has been an acceleration in the last 10 months of what would have perhaps taken 10 years in many areas, and one area is this. I believe that more opportunities are going to be given to women at this time of crisis to be the leaders that our churches need us to be as we rebuild around mission, around empowerment, around making heroes of others, around multiplication rather than just addition, around creating contributors to a cause and not just consumers of a product, around being at the very heart of rebuilding our hurting and needy local communities, not at the periphery, not at the edge. And I do believe this. I believe godly men are recognizing the leadership gift in the women around them more at this time than ever before, and will be making space for them. I was struck a while back seeing a highly prophetic, and I think at the time, unprecedented move by John McGinley, then vicar of Holy Trinity Leicester, a great church, where he swapped roles with his female associate vicar, Elaine, who's now become the vicar. And he's the associate vicar. Now, John is a deeply humble and gifted leader who's championing church planting and discipleship within the C of E. But what he did, I think, we can expect to see repeated across different church backgrounds and traditions. Some men, particularly if they have been leading for a long time, are right now looking at what the church needs over the next few years and are seeing the provision of God in the female leaders around them. Some of you watching will be asked to step up and become the senior leader of the leadership team you are currently on. Some of you watching will be asked onto leadership teams. Some of you watching will be asked to lead a new missional expression of your church or asked to train as a church planter. Some of you watching will be asked to lead the town-wide or the city-wide unity movement in your locality. You know, these next few years, we will more than ever need churches in a location who are collaborating as one church with multiple expression, with no competition, no silos, no empires, just kingdom mindsets, together tackling the huge social needs we will be facing around financial hardship, around unemployment, around food poverty. And women with a leadership gift will need to step up as we move into the post-COVID era and we begin to rebuild church and rebuild community. Now, there will be some things that will attempt to stop you and some things that will keep you growing. So let me give you a heads up what will stop you. Number one, fear. Fed by thoughts like, what will people think? Have I got what it takes? Who am I to do that? It might shift the dynamics in my friendships or even in my marriage, and I'm not sure I want that. Fear drives us to underestimate ourselves and overestimate risk. You know, you can recognize your fears, but not be ruled by your fears. You are not your fear, and your fear is not you. Fear is just an emotion. You can feed it, or you can starve it. You can say, you're not my friend. I will not partner with you. I will starve you, because what you feed will live, and what you starve will die. Number two, what will stop you is a desire to stay hidden and in your comfort zone. This is, of course, normal and human, but it doesn't allow the gift within you given by God to grow. If we only do what we're comfortable with, we will never do what we're capable of. To lead a life that lights you up and to be a person who elevates others, you must be willing to do the things that scare you a bit, that leave you feeling vulnerable and uncomfortable. I felt scared in the lead up to this conference, but I knew God had asked me to do it. So what will keep you growing? Say yes to opportunities that will grow you, even if you say yes amongst being scared. Because you will build up confidence and courage when you don't back down, but you take something head on and you nail it. Most women underestimate their abilities, and most men overestimate theirs. Number two, know that your growth is not about you. It's not for you. The mentality of a great leader is they actually stop thinking about how they're doing in their leadership because they've shifted their focus to think more about the growth and the passions of those they lead and how great things can be accomplished together. I'm motivated by knowing that as I grow, as I stretch and push myself, then actually I serve those I lead better. They win as I grow. And then number three, eternal perspective. A day will come when we will face Jesus and we will have to give an account for our life and the gifts that he's given us. And I want him to say to all of his daughters, well done, good and faithful servant. You did what I put you on the earth to do. So friends, a time is coming where you will be asked to step up. Women need to play their full part in what we are coming into. We need to replenish in order that we can rebuild God's beautiful church, the bride that he's coming back for. We need to replenish so that we can help to rebuild our communities and our society that will be ravaged by the impact of this pandemic. Women of God, step up, choose growth, because as you grow, you cause the kingdom of God to grow. We're now going to have a spoken word by my friend Emily, who has written this poem around choosing growth.
This is still a new beginning, a time to plant in faith what we wish one day to harvest. Choose to be at peace with the soil breaking open. The cold, hard earth is the seedbed of the promise spoken. Let the falling leaves of faded hopes and good things ending enrich the ground, growing better things to be found. Spirit, mold us, fill us, break new ground within us. Choose to dig down your roots for the water of life. Be sustained and empowered by its ever-flowing stream. Invest in the ground on which you stand. Dig your roots down deep, deep into land. People of promise, children of light, we need not run but grow where we are found. Spirit, mould us, fill us, well within us. Choose to stand in the spacious place, and caring not about time or pace, embrace eternity. Simply be. Every moment is alive, ringing with the ancient promise, and free as air to breathe in and dance within and flourish in the boundless realms of prayer. Spirit, mould us, fill us, set us free. Choose the tested journey from darkness up to light. Carve paths within the undergrowth where others would take flight. Take on whatever form the light compels you to be, a form which may look strange except to those who truly see why it is we grow towards such a life-giving beam, a light revealing truths so much more than they may seem. Spirit of truth, mould us, fill us, guide us. Choose to break open your unploughed ground. Choose to say yes to the place where you are found. Choose to reap the fruits of unfailing love. Choose to be grown by the Father above.